Hey, what's up everybody? This is Charles and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. We've been covering this Ben Simmons drama with the Philadelphia 76ers for what seems like months now. We've done numerous videos on this particular story. Now, here's a quick refresher for some people that maybe are missing bits and pieces. Basically, this is what happened, right? So basically, Ben Simmons went into the playoffs. He played like crap. In Game 7, he was terrible. In the fourth quarter in Game 7, they were down 2. They had an opportunity to tie the game. Ben Simmons had a wide open layup or dunk, went up, faked the ball, passed it to one of his teammates. The teammate got basically like three Atlanta Hawks jumped on his back, ball went out of bounds, game over, right? Since that point, or after that, rather, at the end of the game, Doc Rivers and his teammate Joel Embiid, the best player on the team, were asked about, what did they think the turning point in the game was? What did they think about Ben Simmons? Doc Rivers said basically he wasn't sure if he could be the starting point guard, and Joel Embiid said that play was a turning point of that game. I think the reason Joel Embiid said that, again, is because basketball is a game of sports, really, but in this case, basketball, there's such a thing as momentum, right? Whenever one team has momentum, they have the crowd on your side and all of these different things. It's hard for another team to be able to overcome that, right? And he felt as if the team was moving in a particular direction, and then that one play kind of deflated all the momentum, took the air out of the room, took the crowd out of the game, and all of a sudden things changed. So those were his comments. And basically what happened was Ben Simmons got angry with some of the things that was said during the post game. All right. Since then, there has been nothing but drama between Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers, right? Nothing but utter drama. It was reported about 2 or 3 days ago that Doc Rivers went to go see Rich Paul. Now, who's Rich Paul? Rich Paul is the agent of Ben Simmons, right? Also the agent of LeBron James and so many other high-profile NBA players. Essentially what happened was Doc Rivers, I guess, went to go speak to Rich Paul. They ended up getting into a shouting match. This was at Rich Paul's house. And Doc Rivers basically yelled, he's under bleeping contract, right? Because Ben Simmons had only played 1 year off of his new contract that he just signed, right? So that's where things kind of, ended up with him. Then Ben Simmons all of a sudden decided that he wanted to just appear in Philly, right? After he had given them every single indication that he was not coming. The team tried to go out there to talk to him. He said, don't even waste your time, and all of these different things. Shows up in Philly. The people there, and we're talking about, players and, members of the organization were totally surprised because they weren't expecting to see him. So what happened? They asked some players. You even heard some sound bites from Danny Green. Danny Green said, if he apologizes to us, great. If he doesn't, whatever. As long as he shows up as a pro and does what he has to do, right? Joel Embiid also said that he felt that some of the things that Ben Simmons was doing was borderline, borderline disrespectful, right? So there were all of these things that were said. So after he appeared in Philly, they had a sit down, right? And they had a sit down and they had a meeting. Both parties had a meeting. And now I want to get into an article that I found here on Fox Sports, which basically detailed the entire meeting. So I'm just going to pick up from a particular point here. So it says, ESPN's Ramona Shelburne reported that the Sixers, including President Daryl Morey and Coach Doc Rivers, met with Simmons and his agent, Rich Paul, in an attempt to mend the fractured relationship, telling him they understand how talented he is and that they can help him develop his offensive trouble. Shelburne wrote, Morey went first, presenting him with a detailed statistical case showing how good Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid worked together defensively, the top duo in the NBA since they entered the league, and even argue they weren't nearly as bad together offensively as Ben Simmons might feel. Their combined offensive efficiency of 118.2 points per game per possession, Morey outlined, would have led the NBA among all teams. Rivers then appealed to Simmons' professionalism and competitiveness, reminding him he had signed a 5-year, $170 million contract extension just 2 years ago, and the team hoped he'd honor it. The overarching message was clear. No matter what happened at the end of last year's disastrous playoff run, they wanted him back. They still saw him as a great player. They believed they could help him through the shooting and confidence woes that had derailed his career, and frankly, they said there were no trades out there that made sense for them. However, their presentation fell on deaf ears as Simmons reportedly reiterated his desire to leave, although insisted the post-Game 7 comments from Rivers and teammate Joel Embiid or attempts to trade him for James Harden weren't the reason for that. Shelburne added, when it was Simmons' turn to speak, he was focused on something entirely different. He didn't dwell on Rivers or Embiid's quotes from after the Sixers' Game 7 loss to the Hawks. He didn't say he felt betrayed by being included in the Sixers' attempts to trade him for James Harden last fall. I appreciate you guys coming out here, Simmons said. According to multiple sources at that meeting, I understand how you feel, but I feel how I feel, and it's just time for a change. A few questions run into my mind. When he leaves the Philadelphia 76ers, will things change? Will he develop a jump shot when he moves to the next team? Will he work on his free throws when he eventually gets traded and goes to another team? Will he stop pointing fingers at the next team he goes to? Will he stop pointing fingers when he goes to the next team, especially when things go wrong, right? Because that seems to be kind of the case here. Or will he just demand another trade when he gets to another team when things go awry? Maybe the coach says, hey, Ben, you need to do this. Maybe one of his teammates try to hold him accountable and say, guy, you're not stepping up. You need to do X, Y, and Z, and this, and this, and this, and this, right? These are some questions I have in my mind, right? Because a trade is a change of scenery. Some people say it can be a refresher, all of these different things, and that's understandable. Those questions still remain. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think Ben Simmons is one of the laziest players I've ever seen come through the NBA with that level of raw talent. I've done many juxtapositions where I've compared him to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis came into the NBA, didn't have as much hype as Ben Simmons. Giannis has done nothing but improve his entire career to the point where he's won multiple regular season MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, and also a Finals MVP. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, has remained stagnant, and one could argue he regressed last season, right? So those are my raw thoughts on Ben Simmons. 4 years, he doesn't really seem to be improving. But now he looks as if he wants to move to the next team and said, "Listen, I think this relationship has ran its course. No problem there. I have no issue with it. If another team feels like I said they can bring him in and he can help their program, more power to them. My personal thoughts are this: they just need to get over this situation. If he wants to move, get him moved, get to another team. Let's see what he does." Quite frankly, I think there are other players out there that deserve more airtime. But again, this is the NBA. This is one of the biggest stories out there. We have to cover it, and we also have to give you guys our opinion. So these are my thoughts and opinions on this matter. What I want to know from you guys is, what do you think? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.